I did ask Felicia if I should bring something because I wanted to try to be classy.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I'll bring like a cheese plate or something.
No, it's either
but
drugs
I could have just brought the drugs.
Drugs or a fucking sandwich. That's it. We want drugs or a sandwich from fucking Encino, the spicy Italian.
And you prefer the drugs.
Yeah, but we always prefer the drugs. Heroin, barbiturates, narcotics, whatever you got, we're in. We won't take them that day, or maybe we will. But we'll take them one night when they're needed. Take is needed, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like you never keep anything. Like you don't take a bag, you take it immediately. You never save anything.
That's what I tell people. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? What's going on, Jessica Wellington? It's a pleasure to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here.
Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from North Carolina and Florida.
Okay. Two of the worst fucking hellholes in Florida. What part of Florida?
Lakeland.
Pure hell.
Yeah.
Pure hell. You can't go to Lakeland. You can't go to Tampa. Can't go to Orlando. You got gay ghosts, right?
Gay
Go to
ghosts.
fucking Orlando. You got all those gay guys that got shot. They gotta be ghosts.
Oh, God.
You check a hotel room here. Ooh. Got a bunch of gay ghosts in Orlando flying around. You're standing on line at the bank. Your asshole's itchy. You're like, what the fuck's going on? There's a little gay ghost scratching your ass.
And the podcast is over already.
Listen, I'm 56. What am I going to do? Take away? You can't take away my wings. You can't take away my wings. You know what I'm saying? I've done my time.
What is your ghost going to sound like?
Oh, he's going to be a bad motherfucker. My ghost ain't going to talk. He's going to fuck with your head. He's going to hide your shoes. He's going to take every sock. So you're left with only one sock for 1 foot. I'll take your gloves. That's the type of ghost I am.
You trip people?
Yeah, damn. I'm trying to write a book. And I had to come to an ugly conclusion about my life that I won the battle, but I lost the war. When I was a kid, Lee, like I could torture people forever. I could change your scenario if I want to. God gave me that gift that I could fuck with people's scenario. And I don't, because it's an ugly gift to have. But I did it to my stepfather. I did it to my stepfather till I broke him. It took me 5 years to figure out his nut. And I broke him. And to this, now, for the first time, I've admitted that it was me who put the wedge in between my stepfather and my mother, because I couldn't have my game. If he stuck on, he wouldn't let me run my game. My mom let me run my game. So for me to get rid of him, I had to fuck with what he loved the most, which was his money.
I did that with some of my stepmoms, to be fair. I did, but my dad was a great guy until he drank. And then he was an asshole. Like, he just Jekyll and Hyde, and he would hit women. So a lot of it was me, like, trying to protect them, too. But there's a picture of me at my dad's, second stepmother at their wedding at the courthouse, and I was totally not for it. And I just looked like I had an attitude in every picture. I wouldn't look at the camera and all that, because I didn't want it to happen.
Because he was a continuation of violence.
Yeah, I mean...
You didn't pull her aside and said, get some head gear and a mouthpiece.
Oh. Well, half the time they would know beforehand. Now, this one I don't think she did, but also I was like 12. I don't think it was my spot to be able to tell her. You know what I mean? But when it did happen, I told her how, I took care of everything. I came in from basketball practice. I was so excited. I remember the first time. And then I come in and I see my stepsisters on the couch crying. And I was like, oh, shit, I know what's happening. Right? So then I just went to the kitchen, saw the bottle, poured it out. And I was like, okay, let's go. No, let's just go. While he's doing whatever he's doing right now, we need to go. And so I helped him in that way.
It's crazy how much the 70s and the 80s, for people who don't know this, there's a lot of younger people who listen to the podcast. There was a time in this country where every block had an abuser. Mm-hmm. There was one woman who lived on that block that always wore sunglasses, that her clothes would be on the front every morning, or his clothes. And in those days, the cops would just come and nobody would get arrested.
Yeah.
There's a horrible domestic violence situation that's always been etched.
That still happened with me.
Even etched in my soul.
In the 90s.
When you witnessed domestic violence, and it wasn't my house. I saw arguments in my house, and I saw my mother hit him with a fucking thing one night when he left. But the people 2 or 3 down doors down from me, growing up in North Bergen, he was a drunk, and he would get home at 2, and he would just beat her. He beat her once a week, and it was well known. And nobody liked him on the block. Like none of the kids. We'd flatten his tires. We'd do everything to him just to fucking annoy him, you know. And I think one of the worst beatings, my dad pulled the gun on him, and they broke up. But if I knew her, she probably went back with him. They went to a different neighborhood, and the violence continued.
Yeah.
It's so weird how much the OJ thing changed the tone of the country. It was acceptable.
You're right.
I just watched something on TV the other day. There was a movie shot in the 80s, and it was still acceptable.
What about The Longest Yard? You open into that one.
That's the 70s in the beginning, but it's so weird. Like up to the 80s, it was still acceptable.
I remember 89, I was 5, and my dad got so drunk that he was holding a gun to me and my stepmom, pointing it at us to get on our knees and say our prayers. Yeah. So that was 89. And I remember I called the cops before when I got older, and one of my stepmoms, she was out on the porch. It was raining. She had a black eye. And I call the cops, and they come, and then she says everything's fine. And I'm like, well, I'm gone. I'm not staying.
What happened to your real mother, if you don't mind me asking?
She overdosed.
How old were you?
I was 25.
Did you find her?
I did not. I was living in Florida at the time. It was kind of weird how that happened.
And where did she OD at?
In her trailer.
What kind of drugs? Heroin?
No, well, she did. I think it was just pills at this point. My mom had AIDS, but that didn't kill her. She had that for like over 10 years. But her drug of choice was crack cocaine.
You've had an interesting life.
Yeah.
Your eyes have seen a lot of things that a lot of people haven't seen. And that's always very interesting in a person. You see that in a person. It was really weird because a couple of weeks ago, you came up to me and you go, when can I do your podcast? And I go, when the timing is right. You know, I just don't book people. The timing has to be right. And I always knew you were the first door girl at the Comedy Store, but I didn't want to bring you in here for that, you know.
Fair enough.
We'll talk about that later on. I get on the plane last week and I put on the mule, and you are playing the best fucking bull dyke I've ever seen. Dykes on bikes, you know? And I was very proud. Like
Thank you.
You know anything about me? I cheer when I see a comic. I cheer when I see a comic on late night, but I cheer more when I see a comic in a movie, because I feel that over the years agents have not utilized us how they're supposed to utilize us.
We're going in like fucking Marines, you understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.